Even though Big left Cologne disappointed, Big has been making some progress recently, as well as some pretty good results and performance. Mirage is one of their better maps, and it helps when you have a top 3 rated player on the T side of Mirage for taking mid. Hey, I'm Smirky, and today I want to look at Tabsen and how he takes mid control on the T side of Mirage, so let's begin. Now I'm going to do something a bit different for this breakdown. Big plays Mirage T side in 3 phases. We have phase 1, where Big will throw the initial util and will deny any mid aggression, or could fake phase 1 to execute onto a bomb site early in the round. We have phase 2, where after holding mid, they will throw another wave of utility towards mid. From here they might just wait, hunt for kills around mid, take control, or look into different areas, but again they can fake phase 2. Now lastly for phase 3. Phase 3 is where they'll start pushing into different areas of the map, or will begin splits onto a site. There are a lot of times where Big don't enter phase 3, as they either faked phase 2 and went back through spawn, or just died in mid. And just for reference, here are the different things I'm going to be showing you in each different phases. Now enough of me rambling, let's begin. Now starting with phase 1, let me show you Tabsen's opening utility. Tabsen will normally not throw a smoke in phase 1, as that will be up to his teammates to smoke window or top mid. Tabsen's most common piece of utility is his Molotov towards connector. We can see in this round he's going to come over towards top mid, aim around here, and left click throw. And this Molotov should make it hard for any CTs to aggress towards mid without a smoke. But once he's done his Molotov, he will either throw 2 different flashbangs afterwards. In this round he's going to choose the top mid flash, where he will aim around here and run and left click throw. The purpose of this flashbang is to allow him to swing out with the flashbang, so if there's any CTs looking towards him, they should be blind. But unfortunately in this round, it goes towards the corner, so it won't really affect anyone. If you want to do my lineup, you can come towards the same spot, aim towards the corner of this box, and do a short run and left click throw. And you can see, it aims around the side of this box, allowing you to swing out with the flashbang. In this round we're going to see something similar against an eco. Tabsen's going to be running towards mid, he's going to Molotov, and his teammate in Crimbo is just going to run straight down mid. There isn't really a point in flashing out mid, as you might affect your teammate. But from here he will cross over towards top mid and start beginning phase 2. And if you're scared of any mid aggression against ecos or rifles, you could do something like this with your Molotov. In this round, Siriuson's going to Molotov connector, and Tabsen's going to HE it. If the CTs were to swing out of connector, they could put the Molotov out, but they would take a lot of damage in the process. And this HE could also be really effective against the Zyru peak where you jump out a window and go towards connector. Now, I've already shown you one of the flashbangs that Tabsen uses, let me show you the other. In this round, Tabsen's going to run towards top mid, and he's not going to throw a Molotov. He's going to aim towards this brown mark and run and left click throw. And with this flashbang it will allow him to cross. And you can see from the camera, when the CT players want to peek out of connector and window, they're just going to be full blind because of the flashbang. And this is a flashbang I see quite a lot in pro play, so if I was you, I'd probably use it if you're not using it already. But with this flashbang it will allow him to cross safely. Let's say if you're led towards mid, or you need to support your teammates, here's a flashbang you can use. In this round, Tabsen's going to come over towards the stairs, he's going to get towards the right of this wooden pole right here, aim towards the right side of this black mark, and he will run and jump for the flashbang once he hits the plant pot. And this flash is really nice for denying any mid aggression and getting the opers off the window angle, but it is worth noting, it will not affect any common connector peaks. And once again we're going to see the exact same thing. Tabsen's going to use the flashbang to help Sirison get a peek. Now after watching their games, they would roughly do the top mid boost at least 2 or 3 times. I'm sure everyone knows the boost, but I'll show it anyway. Sirison's just going to Molotov connector, Tabsen will boost him up, and Sirison will look for a peek. But once he can't find anything, Tabsen will run boost him out mid to see if he can get a kill towards short. Now, after Tabsen's thrown his initial utility, he will always find a position for him to sit at and just wait for any aggression. In this round we can see Tabsen did some supportive utility and will wait around this spot right here. If the CTs were to aggress up, Tabsen will take the initial contact, and Sirison, who's behind the top mid box, will be able to swing out and help. but in this round, Tabsen is going to fall off. Once again, we're going to see a similar position from Tabsen, except this time he's going to be a bit more aggressive and peek out. And he's just going to be doing these jump peeks to see if he can spot any information that would be useful. He'll check towards connector, try check towards window, and then from here he'll start getting ready for phase 2. Now, another position that I've seen him sit at was towards the door. If you're playing towards the door, it's pretty much impossible for the CT side to blind you as you're hiding behind this wall. And you can see from here, Tabsen will every so often have a quick peek out towards mid just to be safe. In round 5, we're going to see the same position used. He's going to sit towards the door, wait for any potential aggression, and once he feels safe, he will push out. Now, a strong position to hold if you want to hold on to top mid is these boxes. We can see Tabsen's going to do the boxes flashed across, and he will sit around here. If the CTs were to push top mid, they may run the risk of not checking you, and may fire one of your other teammates towards top mid. And not only that, you could get lucky and catch a CT while they're pushing. As we can see every so often, Tabsen's going to do these jiggle peeks. But in a second, Tabsen's going to reposition towards bucket, and will do a really good job in getting a double kill. Against FaZe, Tabsen's going to use a similar spot. He'll go across top mid, quickly check under, and then just wait for any potential pushes. And once he feels safe, he will begin phase 2. Now, if you're playing towards top mid behind these boxes, you could also do something like this, where if you have a top mid smoke down, you could try and use it to catch the AWP off guard. And because there's no window smoke, but there is a top mid smoke, the T's could go through different parts of the smoke to potentially catch the AWP off guard, and this is an angle they may not expect. From here though, Tabsen's going to wait for the top mid smoke to fade, just to be sure there's no short player hiding behind it, and he will be safe. Now, as I showed a bit earlier, Tabsen may play towards bucket, and this angle is really good in catching any short players trying to push in towards ladder or aggress towards mid. If you want to make sure you're fully hidden, make sure you're looking towards the wall so your barrel isn't pointing out. But in this round, Tabsen's not going to get anything. But if you wanted to, you could hide behind bucket for a long time, as if a CT was to push, you should be able to spot them first before they can see you due to peeker's advantage, and lastly they might not even check you. Or when you peek out, you might just catch a CT pushing mid, you never know. And later he will do something similar towards chair. Look at what Tabsen does when he wants to peek out. He's going to clear towards short first, clear towards window, and will unfortunately die to a player pushing mid. Now lastly, at times Tabsen may just fake phase 1 and go right into an execute. Like in this round where Tabsen will smoke off window, grab the other smoke off short, and head over towards the A-bomb site. And in round 4 we're going to see the exact same thing. The point of all this constant utility is to use your utility as a blanket to either make the CTs think that it's a default, where you could be doing an execute, or maybe vice versa. And here's another good round of him faking phase 1. In this round his teammate smoked off top mid, and he's going to come over and Molotov window. By Molotoving window, it makes it a lot harder for the open to spot anyone crossing mid, creating a lack of information on the CT side. With this, he will just combine this with a few flashbangs to sell presence, then he will help his teammates execute onto the B-bomb site. Now let's move on to phase 2. As mentioned before, phase 2 will start after they feel safe and will throw the next set of utility towards mid. So let's have a look at that second wave of utility. I'm sure this is a smoke that everyone knows, but again, I'll show it anyway. If you want to smoke off window, put your back towards the wall, make sure you're in line with this antenna, and run and left click throw. And this smoke will give you some cover towards window. With this, Tabsen's going to flash connector to try and persuade any connector players to fall off and allow Crimbo to gain action. And from here, he will hunt towards mid. Now, the most common smoke that I've seen Tabsen throw is a top connector smoke. To do this, he'll get towards his corner, aim around here, crouch, and then uncrouch and left click throw. And this smoke will block off connector, making it unreasonable for the CT side to linger around connector, as they could just get trapped. And with this, Tabsen will flash short, to get those short players off their angles. And again, he will start hunting. The last smoke that I've seen Tabsen throw is the top connector smoke from B stairs. This will have the exact same effect as the previous lineup. You just get towards this corner, aim at the top of this antenna, and jump throw. Now, there's some scenarios where Tabsen will begin phase 1, and then from here he'll be ready for phase 2. But what happens if he wants to fake phase 2 to make the CTs think that they're taking mid, whereas they're hiding behind their utility to let it exec onto B or A? Well, in this round, Tabsen's going to come away from mid, and he's going to smoke off window by standing next to this bin, aiming towards the spot right here, holding right, and jump throwing. And this smoke will block off window, making it a lot harder for any CTs to clear mid. And because window is one of the easiest spots to collect information from mid, smoking off makes it a lot harder for FaZe to understand where everyone is, without pushing into mid. In this round we're going to see something similar, where Tabsen threw his Molotov towards connector, and he's just going to smoke off top connector. From here he will rotate towards the B bomb site. Once Tabsen's thrown his utility, he will begin hunting. By hunting, I mean going around mid, checking his angles, seeing if he can try and gain a kill, or maybe just taking connector control. In this round we can see he's going to throw his flashbang, wait towards short for any potential re-aggression, and later go down towards mid. And when he goes down towards mid, pay attention to his crosshair placement. He'll look towards short, before checking towards the boost, and then looking towards window. Now, especially in pugs, I would say window is one of the most highest priorities to check, just because how many times people just white swing randomly. And if you also pay attention, Tabsen didn't even look towards connector once, and that's because he's using the CT's connector smoke against them, making it so the connector players can't even see them. But you do want to stay close to it, just so you don't get caught in the one way. But once Tabsen's done waiting underneath window, his team will later execute onto the B bomb site, and he will look into connector, where he will find a kill onto twists. Now in this round, Tabsen and Crimbo are going to hunt towards mid together. Tabsen will look towards short, where Crimbo will look towards connector. Tabsen will throw a Molotov to try and block out the CTs, but in a second, Crimbo's going to get contact. Tabsen will get the trade, but will die from Crad, who's trading from connector, with assistance from Mia, who pushed through Tabsen's molly. And it's worth noting this type of pathing / setup they were playing can be quite effective, because if you get contact from connector, your short player can try fight him, and the person close by can assist, or vice versa on short. Now here's an interesting setup you might want to use. In this round, Big has taken mid control, and they're just going to sit in this setup with their deagles. And I've also seen G2 try this out with the rifles. In this round, Tabsen will have an off angle towards short, Tizzy will sit across connector and look towards window, and Sirison will also be looking towards short, but can help with connector if someone does push. And in this round, the setup is going to serve really well, as in this round, they're going to find both Rops and Twists trying to push towards mid, and they're going to punish him hard. With two CTs dead, Big are going to look through the cracks and start applying the pressure. Now lastly, let me quickly show you some ways how Big dealt with connector control. In this round we can see Tabsen made his way towards top mid. He's going to have a similar crosshair placement and will think about mollying short, but sees the connector smoke come in, so he just wants to completely deny it by molotoving it. And combined with the top mid smoke, Brokey's going to think that this is too much pressure to deal with and will later fall off. But unfortunately we'll get the kill onto Sirison. Now in this round, Tabsen did the top mid smoke, and Crimbo's going to Molotov connector. With this, Tabsen's going to flash Crimbo into connector, using a similar lineup to the Molotov. Unfortunately, Crimbo will peek before the flashbang. Crimbo will get blind, but if someone was there, it's almost impossible for them to survive, due to no support from the smoke, limited space from the molly, and no vision from the flashbang. Now, maybe around 30 to 40% of the time, after Tabsen's done hunting towards mid, he might just wait, and when he feels comfortable, they'll start getting ready for phase 3. In this round, Tabsen was done hunting towards mid, and decided to go back towards top mid and wait for any potential CT re-aggression, and he's just lurking towards mid basically. You can see from this spot, he's going to make sure that his teammates can't get flanked, and you can see he's going to do these quick peeks once in a while to see if he can catch a FaZe player off guard. And in this round, Tabsen's going to be staying towards top mid for a long time, checking his back, where unfortunately he will get timinged by twists. And here's another example. In this round, Tabsen was done throwing his utility in mid, they had a quick check and couldn't find anything. And from here, Tabsen's going to wait towards top mid, looking towards connector to see if he can catch FaZe re-aggressing. And as mentioned before, window is one of the most common spots for CTs to regress due to how much information you can gain so quickly. So it's very important that Tabsen keeps an eye on this. Now let's lastly move on to phase 3. In phase 3, this is the part where they'll start taking action. But like I said at the start, sometimes they don't move on to phase 3, either because they all died, they rotated through spawn towards A or B, or at times they don't have that much plays to use. So if you want a bit more plays for mid, I highly recommend checking out this video I did on Art's channel. Now in this round, Tabsen's going to smoke off window from phase 2, and Crimbo's going to be ready inside of connector. So with this aggression from window, Tabsen's going to start phase 3 and flash Crimbo out of connector. This will flash 2 of his teammates out of connector, but unfortunately they will both die to Rops, who couldn't be affected by the flashbang. Now in round 10 against Entropic, Tabsen is going to throw the exact same flashbang for Tizian against an Eco, and with this, Tizian's able to pop out of the smoke and get an entry for Big. Now you can also use phase 3 to have a set of cards in one hand, but the final trick is actually in the other. In this round, Tabsen is going to flash Crimbo out of connector, and you can see the rest of the big players are making their way towards the B bomb site. And this type of play will make Rops worry, but later in the round, Big is able to split onto the bomb site and gain control of it. Now if you want to do literally anything other than the connector flash, you could try something like this. In this round, Tabsen's taking connector control, and he's going to flash Crimbo towards short. He's going to aim around here and left click throw. And this flashbang is actually pretty good, as it will bounce off the wall, either blinding the CTs for Crimbo or forcing the CTs away from short. Tabsen is going to look towards connector and will gain a kill onto Forrester, who's trying to gain some information. After watching Tabsen's demos, I've noticed he's quite patient. Tabsen uses the different phases to wait for any possible push from the CT side, and this type of default can be really effective against aggressive teams. He's thorough. From the angles they clear to the util they throw, everything seems thorough and looked into with the finest details. Lastly, I've noticed he's quite supportive on the defaults. Tabsen is often found towards the back of the defaults, as he's commonly throwing supportive flashbangs for mid or connector. Apart from that, if you have any plays or positions you want me to break down next, feel free to put in the comments below and I'll have a look. Maybe you need some way to execute onto the B bomb site on the T side of Ancient. Well, I brought down Liquid's simple execute that you should definitely check out. Apart from that, thanks for watching, see you in a bit.